Oh man. Welcome to Little Creek Bee Ranch. It's a Monday. Man, this is like the fourth attempt at this little video. Old Beekeeper's out of practice, man. It's been a challenging summer for sure, and we're determined. I guarantee you, we're determined. We're filming how to make cinnamon creamed honey. So we're going to have multiple films all kind of dubbed in together. This one's about tools and kind of the process and how we get started. So let me dive in. We don't want to make it too terribly long. You're going to need a drill, some kind of a serious, hefty drill. Honey's thick. You just don't want to lay into the drill. It's going to smoke it. I was getting all my tools together and I can't find my key, to tie it up. So I'm kind of not a happy guy. I don't know where my key is, so I can't mix and stir today. I'll set that to the side. What we want to do is we want to use a drill to pulsate up and down and just tap the trigger. You don't want to lay into it. It'll smoke and burn the drill because the honey is really, really thick. You don't want to do that, right? So some kind of hefty drill. This is the creamed honey paddle. You can find them on Daydad, Man Lake, about $80, I think. And you also see a screw. They'll have a creamed honey screw or a paddle. Stick with the paddle. Stick with the paddle. You'll make your money back pretty quick. Not a problem. Don't try a paint stirrer. No, just stick with a creamed honey paddle. And the blades and the top and sides will turn and mix the honey. Again, you're pulsating and you're turning, pulsating, turning. That's how we mix it. We don't lay into it and turn it like you would paint. You'll burn your drill up. Right? So that's the creamed honey paddle. You're going to need that. Set that to the side. You're going to need a washcloth. Wash off, kind of wipe off your hands and the jar and the lid. You don't want to be messy about your business, but just a damp washcloth on a tray. You'll need that. Let's see, you'll need a bucket lid wrench. Typically in the fall and winter we're making creamed honey and the plastic is harder, it's not as pliable. And it's hard to get those lids up, so you'll need that. You find that at Lowe's or Home Depot, I don't know, $5 or something like that. A lid wrench. You'll need powdered cinnamon, of course. Now you can get it Dollar General, whatever, Family Dollar, or you can get to the fancy stores if you want to get a higher grade powdered cinnamon. You can do that. This is 2 1/4 ounces, and I will divide it into the 2 buckets. We have a full bucket of honey here, and we're going to pour half of it into another bucket. So when we turn and work it, we're not sloshing over. So we divide it. We just pour it in, divide it, and you'll divide the cinnamon, right? So that's the cinnamon. This is the starter, the creamed honey starter. This is the same principle as a sourdough starter. You're going to use your teaspoon and unload the jar. About half of it's going to go into each bucket, but I'm going to deliver it to one bucket. I'm going to put it to the side, and after I've emptied the jar out, I'll leave a quarter in the jar, and I'm going to ladle in some good honey, just pure honey, back into the jar, and then use my teaspoon and mix it really, really good. Side, scrape it, bottom, scrape it, and it goes into the refrigerator. The next morning it comes out and sits on the counter. That evening I stir it again, back in the refrigerator, back out the next morning, evening, turn, back in. You're going to do that cycle 14 times. You're going to keep a note on a pad on the refrigerator. That's going to be your starter. That's the first thing I do before I whip up anything and mix anything, is gain back my starter jar. So once I have got the honey in and turned, I can put it in the refrigerator and forget about it. It's done. I just have to track it on a 14-day cycle, right? So that's out of the way. Don't need that. The jars I ordered off of Amazon come in a box of 30, and I ordered 3 boxes. In a 5-gallon bucket, you will have 80 half pints. But you're adding 2 solids. You're adding the creamed honey seed and the powder, which expands it a little bit. And you'll need another dozen jars, so about 92 jars, half pint jars. All right, so now I have my buckets mixed up with a starter and the cinnamon. Take away the ladle, don't need that. And the cinnamon, I'm done with that. This is not hard. So now I have my honey gate bucket. This is a honey gate. Sometimes you can just buy the gate and put it in yourself, or you can order the bucket assembled at Man Lake, Dayton, however you want to do that. This is a bucket rack to hold the bucket so that it sits up. And when you pour, you got your mix that you've already mixed in. You're just going to pour it in your gate bucket. Now once I do that, I really do want to pour and then put it on top of a milk crate so I got room to work with the jars. I'm going to pour into the jars, and when I fill, you can see this, I like to fill right below that first rib. Creamed honey, cinnamon cream honey wants to expand, so I won't go to the tippy top. I'll go right to that first rib. Now you're going to have a lot of honey that's just kind of sitting up here, and I will scrape out with a spatula. I will scrape the bottom. You can't see it. There you go. I will scrape out the bottom of that bucket. Pretty fastidious about it, pretty tight. And you'll have 2 buckets going in. But you have to remember, you're going to need more than 80 jars. Way back when we first did it, we didn't account for the solids. And I had my 80 jars all set up. I counted, did my math. And I had a whole bunch of honey left over. Like, something has happened. What happened here? So I had to account for the solids that I put in the honey that expanded it. And by just simply putting in the solids gave me another 12 jars. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So we sell them at $15 a jar, and the market will bear that. You're in the catbird seat here because Americans don't know what this is. Americans typically think of honey as liquid only. But when I lived overseas in England for 3 years in the 80s, they were traveling around and meeting all kinds of people. Honey over there is not done until it's been whipped and creamed. It's not dairy added. It goes by different names. Spun honey, creamed honey, chilled honey, whipped honey. It's all the same. We found out that, man, that is premium product. You come over here to America, and I have had so many people tell me, oh, all honey's the same. No, not close, man. So you are in the king seat when you know how to make up creamed honey. You can use different powders. On Amazon, I know you can get freeze-dried strawberry powder, freeze-dried blueberry powder, etc., etc. And you can make up different flavors, or you can use Loran oils for concentrate, liquid concentrate. Do a few drops of liquid concentrate. This is the same food-grade oils they use for icings and cakes and cookies, etc., etc. So you can really have you a nice little business here, learning how to make up cinnamon creamed honey. I don't want to, when I pour out my honey, let's set this to the side. Set this down. Push that over here, get rid of that over there. I do want a tub. Because I'm taking a full bucket of honey and I'm pouring half of it in here. And I want to make sure that I don't slosh over the sides onto the floor of the kitchen. That would not be a good idea. Make sure we're safe. And I can pull it out and set it up. Now when I am ready to pour into the gate bucket, I'll do the same thing again. I don't know why. That's just extra insurance. Make sure that gate's tightly shut. I'm not going to spill anything. And once I know, okay, I'm cool. You don't want to unload a bucket of honey on the floor. You don't want that. And then go from there. So you're going to have 3 buckets after you're all said and done that are going to have some residual honey. Scrape it and clean it and get it in a jar. I'm pretty tight about that. Those are just the tools, the basic tools of making cinnamon cream honey. We're going to take you through the whole process. If I had found my drill key this morning, you'd see me pouring up, but I can't pour up because I can't mix. So I said, well, all right, we're just going to take a lemon and make lemonade. We're just going to do tools, intro on tools, and what's going to come. And we'll dub these videos all together, and you'll just see the whole process through. But we've marked by different dates. This is what this November 6th, 11:50 a.m. All right, November 6th, 11:50 a.m. And there'll be a timeline here because once all these 92 jars are mixed, poured up, they're going to go in the refrigerator and they're going to stay there for 3 days. On the third day, half of them come out in the morning, come to room temperature. In the evening time, I'll stir it, scrape it and stir it, each one by hand with a teaspoon, with my high-tech teaspoon. Back in the refrigerator. That next set comes out, to room temperature that evening. I stir that other half back in. I wait 2 weeks and it'll be set. So get the timeline down. We do all our mixing, pour it up to the refrigerator. On the third day, comes out. It's an evening turn. Back in the refrigerator. 2 weeks. It's solid and ready. I won't put the labels on until they come back out. Whatever order I'm going to fill, I will let it come to room temperature and then put my labels on it and do it that way. Hey, yeah, oh, pretty down and dirty. That's a quickie on tools. So make note of the tools that we use. Go back and watch a quickie video. It's just a quickie intro, and kind of gather up your tools, the things that you need to make cinnamon creamed honey. Another little tip: when we unload this jar into the buckets, we want this honey malleable. If you look at it, it's just kind of barely crawling. It's so thick, it's just like barely crawling, because I've got to dig it out of there and it's pretty thick. I got to dig it out and get it delivered to the buckets. About half and half, and then mix it up. All right, cool beans, man. There'll be some more coming right behind this one. Take good notes. Check you later.